Okay, James. You've got the board? Hey, Dinaf, welcome. Dinaf is the first in.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay, good. You're on Lichess, huh?
Yes, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Okay, good.
In the study game study.
Okay, good. So what we want to do today is we want to look at some E4, E5 games, but ones which ended very quick. Usually, it means that there is some sort of opening mistake. Some of them are quite obvious, some of them are not. But what I find is that it's important to be able to spot these kind of mistakes, because that's what most of your players your level, that's kind of the mistakes that they make usually. And okay, some of them might seem silly, but let's just start. E4, E5, and white goes F4. Black plays this. This is called the Forcabia counter gambit in the King's Gambit. And it's actually, it offers a lot of counterplay for black. White plays knight c3. Black takes. Hey, Lionel, thank you so much for the follow. Chesab, thank you so much for the follow, for the like, actually. Yeah.
Which must I be viewing it from black side?
From white side. Knight takes pawn, and black plays pawn takes pawn. Now, the one mistake that black is making is kind of playing on pawns only and not developing pieces. This always backfires. no matter how many times you see the games, there's always someone playing a new one where this is a mistake. So yeah, after bishop here, black goes check. Now here, this is where I actually want to start asking you, what do you do?
You play G3.
Hey Terry, welcome. You play G3? Yeah, we had a similar position, right? Where white played G3 here. And after pawn takes pawn,
Knight takes pawn.
yeah, that would be the safer way of playing. But then knight takes pawn results in queen takes bishop on c4. And it's not a position that you want to play.
So you just leave the pawn.
But what do you do? Dinaf says queen f, that's not the correct one. He says king f1, that's not the correct one. He says hg, that's also not the right one.
I'm thinking of bishop times f.
Okay, that's not also the right one. It's definitely interesting, but not enough. d4, no. Queen e2, terrified, very good. Queen e2, very nice move. Queen e2 comes with a lot of traps. So black goes check. What do you do?
King to G1.
Very good. Nice move. So he takes the rook and promotes to a queen. It's your turn.
Is it knight to D6?
Oh,
Check.
the fact that you said is it, and the fact that it's not correct, I'm not surprised. It means you didn't check. I want you to check for yourself. This is the kind of position you should be able to calculate to the end.
No, it's knight to... It's knight to F6.
Knight to F6, check. Well done. Terry had seen it. King D8.
And then queen to E8.
Very good. Okay, good. So that's the first one. The second one goes E4. Black goes E5. Knight F3. Knight C6. D4. Pawn takes pawn. Knight takes pawn. And black plays this move, a knight here. Not the best. Blocks the bishop. So this is the first slight inaccuracy in the position. And now, knight C3, G6, and white plays bishop G5. Black goes bishop G7, and here white plays knight here. What he's threatening is he is threatening to win by taking on C6, and then E7 does not have support. So black takes here. But this also is a mistake.
Queen times bishop.
Very good. Queen takes bishop. That was quick. Knight takes queen. If you saw queen takes bishop, you should have seen the subsequent continuation.
Is it bishop times
no,
knight?
No. Don't say is it. You have to find the right idea.
It's knight to F6.
Knight F6 check. Very good. King here.
And then bishop H6.
Mate, right?
Yes.
Do you see why it's important that you have to have seen it?
Yes.
Okay. Start another one. White goes E4. Black goes E5. Knight F3. Knight C6. And here, we want to look at this position from black's perspective, because white is the one who makes a slight mistake. Bishop E2. This move is a mistake in the sense that it doesn't observe the maximum activity for the black for the light squared bishop. So after bishop here, black goes bishop C5, and white makes a further mistake of trying to play before completing the development of his pieces. So after knight takes pawn, what do you do?
You don't take his knight. Because then you don't take his knight back, because then he's going to fork you.
Okay, but what do you do?
you play bishop times f.
Very good. Bishop takes f7, f2 check. So king takes. What do you do? Well done, Terry. Terry is very sharp on tactics.
Queen to f6.
Queen f6. True, but there's a better move. Yes. No, not queen h4 check.
Is a knight times knight.
Just knight takes knight, yeah. Recovering your piece. But now white goes d4.
And then you play queen to f6.
Yes, now you play queen f6 check. Okay, he blocks like this.
You play knight to g4.
Knight g4 check. Okay, he comes forward. Yeah, queen f6, I think check it enough. Not queen f3. But I think you had the right idea. What do you do here?
Is a knight to h5. h6. G.
You're saying knight to?
G to h5. If h6.
No, there's something else.
d6.
b6.
No, d6.
D6 is slow. So your move needs to introduce threats also, let alone protecting the knight.
Isn't to h6 the f on 4?
Which one?
The one on g4.
Yeah, the knight. That's the knight you need to somehow figure out how to protect. At the same time, you need to come up with new threats. It's very simple. It's not complicated. proceed to the end of this variation.
It's h4.
h4. Very good. He takes here.
And you play d6.
Play d6. Well,
d6.
checkmate. Well done, Terry. Okay, next one. And
from
White's perspective.
must I look at
White's perspective. Starts again e4, e5, and white goes f4, black goes d6, knight f3, and he plays bishop g4. Now this is a mistake again. We spoke of a similar mistake I think sometime this week. Oh, maybe it was not with you, but it was definitely with the trainers we trained over the weekend. Like, this is a mistake because you develop the bishop before the knight. It's an old concept, but it still holds. Majority of the time it's true.
Knights before bishops.
Exactly. Yeah. So here, white goes bishop c4, black goes pawn takes pawn, knight c3, and he goes g5. This is typical in the King's Gambit to play something like this. Unfortunately, here it doesn't work. But white goes here and pawn takes knight. Of course, after this, bishop takes pawn. Do you see what would happen?
Then you resign.
After bishop
Then black resigns.
Why?
Because of the mate with the bishop, knight, and the other knight.
Correct, yeah. So here, and it's mate, right?
Mm.
Okay, so that's why after this, black takes on e5, and queen takes bishop. So black plays this move, c6. And what do you do?
You can play queen to f5.
Yeah?
Queen to f5.
Very good. Queen f5. This threatens mate on the spot. So after queen f5, he goes here. What do you do?
Queen to c8.
Queen c8 check. And after queen c8, black goes here.
Then you play bishop to f7.
Very good. Bishop takes check. And the problem is that king takes bishop, leaves the queen on its own. And what's wrong with
It
king?
leaves the... It's just mate.
Exactly. Queen to e6 is mate. Next one. Again, starts with e4. Black goes e5. And we need to look at this from a black's perspective. So e4, e5, and white plays c3. Now, this is a mistake because it's okay, it takes the square of the knight, does not develop a minor piece. It's just an old idea that people don't use at all nowadays. So knight c6. Hey Yubo, thank you so much for your resubscription. Really appreciate that. Helps us keep this thing going. c3, knight c6, and he goes d4. Knight f6. You can see that black is just developing minor pieces. Bishop goes to g5, h6, and bishop here, g5. It's kind of justified. Here, pawn takes pawn. He goes e5, pawn takes another pawn. Takes knight and takes here. And here, white plays queen e2 check. This is very amusing. What do you do?
Queen to e7.
Exactly, queen e7. It's a difficult idea to see. Okay, so queen e7. So white does the thing he's supposed to do, takes on e7. What do you do?
You then play bishop to g7.
Very nice. I thought it was such a beautiful original idea. I've never actually seen this before. And yeah,
It's not hard to see.
that's what surprises me, like when you miss the simple ideas and you see this one. Don't you think it's funny? That you see the complicated one, but then the simpler one just goes around. Okay, so let's look at the next one. So this one goes e4, e5, and okay, this one we're looking at it from white's perspective. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, and black goes this f5. Hey Louis Picasso, thank you for the like, really appreciate. So f5, d4, and he takes on e4. What do you do?
Are we on white's perspective?
Yeah.
Knight times e.
Knight takes pawn, yeah. And you see the mistake that most people are making in this particular case is a lot of funny pawn moves, which are not necessary. So here, black goes knight f6, and white goes bishop c4, and black goes d5.
Isn't this a lot of blunders?
Not really. There is some ideas.
Or is it bullet playing?
Okay, let's start that one because there's something funny here. Okay, let's start it from the top. So it goes e4, black goes e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, and black goes f5. White goes d4, and pawn takes king pawn, right? And here, I think we made a mistake. King's knight takes pawn. Okay? Now there's also a threat here. So black goes knight f6, and white goes bishop to c4. Black goes d5. Now what do you do?
Is it knight times d?
Very good. How do you continue?
You play queen to h5.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is that in the database there is a game between a 2300 player and a 2300 player where this game was played. So check. So black goes g6. What do you do?
You take the pawn.
Knight takes pawn. Okay. Black plays this in between move. Knight to f6.
Bishop f7.
Wow. This is why I get upset now. You can see this one instantly. Okay, bishop f7 check, makes sense. And after this, actually, black resigned. Okay, but let's look at the mate. If he takes the bishop, what do you do?
You play knight to e5.
Knight e5 check. He goes here.
You play king. Then you play queen f7.
Okay, he goes king f5.
And then you do him dirty and play g4.
And g4 is checkmate.
Mate.
Okay, let's look at one last one. What do you observe about these games? Like, what's a common trait?
What does coach mean?
What's common about these games?
They're very short.
Okay, but why are they short?
And because there's a mistake.
There's a mistake, yeah.
In the opening.
Yeah. So this one, we'll look at it from black's perspective. It starts e4, e5. I've got permission to smack my student, apparently. That's from your dad. You're on your own now. e4, e5, knight c3, knight c6. You go f4, bishop c5, knight f3, d6, f5, knight f6, h6. You can see that black is making a lot of pawn moves. d4, and even without completing development, he goes for something like this.
A few of the games do something like that.
Yeah. And now
they attack too quick.
Yes, exactly. They jump out very early before completing development. Now, if you don't know, it's easy to make these kind of mistakes. Uh, so knight f3. This position, I actually first saw it as a puzzle. I didn't know about the game. I'm actually seeing the game for the first time. What do you do here?
It's a bishop to f2.
No, it's not the right move. You have seen a version of this actually today, but you haven't pieced things together yet. Your mind is just jumping to the first move that it saw.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Is it queen to h4?
Yes, light bulb. Knight takes. What do you do?
And then bishop to f2.
Now it works, right? Your bishop check and king goes here.
And then you play knight to d4.
Knight d5 check. And he still has one move, queen here.
Then you play knight to c5.
Knight to c5 is mate, and that's it. And that's it for us for today. We're going to raid Peshka. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And we'll see you tomorrow with much more of these short games. I promise this whole week we'll be doing short games. Okay, James. Okay.